Hello, happy Friday. Thanks for joining us. We are Anu and Igor. We're the owners of vinousreverie Wine Merchant out in Walnut Creek, California. And you're watching the show for the adventurous wine drinker. And today we are tasting a vermouth. But before we get to that, I just want to make a quick announcement. Our tasting room is open. So join us every Saturday, 1 to 4 p.m. We have thematic wine tastings, and tomorrow's flight is Italian wines, Northern Italy. Correct?
Northern Italy, yes.
Yeah. So come on in and try our wine flight. But now back to our regularly scheduled wine review, right?
Yes, yeah. So a little change of pace today. We're gonna do vermouth.
Yeah.
All right. But before I get to vermouth, I want to give a little wine discussion.
Tangents.
Yeah.
Okay.
Regular wine discussion that we typically do. So it's interesting. This week, Jancis Robinson, she was writing an article on California wines, and she named the article "Superior in California." So when I saw the article that, I'm like, okay, I guess she's gonna have some expensive Napa cabs, and she might give some 17 and a half points, maybe some at 18 points and stuff like that. So I opened it up and started reading it, and there were some 17 and a half, 18 point wines. Most of them were very expensive. I mean, we had
surprise
18 points Schaefer Hillside, which is kind of their flagship wine. So she gave it 18 points, which is like a 95 points on the 100-point scale. And retails for 300.
Oh, okay.
But really, what caught my eyes is Bond, which is it's funny. It's actually the entry-level wine from Harlan Estate.
Okay.
So, and Harlan Estate is one of the most expensive Napa cabs. It's right there with like Screaming Eagle. There's like just like super expensive wines. So she reviewed 3 of Bond wines. They're kind of the entry-level wines. And their retail, we're talking about $775 per bottle.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And 2 of the 3 she gave 16 and a half points to.
Oh, 16 and a half.
And 117, which is the equivalent like to, 16 and a half points is like 90 points. And I'm like, man, we have 90-point wines there for $10. Here we have
I know.
a wine that's, asking price is $775. I mean, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Look, footnote to that. She did the Harlan Estate, which is the higher end wine, which retails for $1,500 per bottle. She did give that one 18 points. So that
got an excellent, perfect score.
Yeah, even though we have an 18-point Chenin Blanc that resell for $36. So just the equivalent. So on the taste profile, we're talking about different grapes, but just the taste profile, she's giving 2 wines saying, oh, they're both excellent. One is $36, the other one is $1,500. Just to put context to some of the disparaging pricing in wine. So that's kind of what jumped out on me. The only note I would make is that some of the domestic reviewers, Jeff Dunnick, James Suckling, they did give Dunnick gave it 97 points, and Suckling gave it 95 points to the wine. So just I just want to kind of say that it did get high scores. This is the Bond wine that she gave 16 and a half points to. So some of the domestic critics gave it high scores too. But kind of knowing her taste profile, and I think I have a similar profile. It sounds like the Napa Cab. It's kind of got rich fruit.
So that's classic Napa Cab flavors.
Not classic. Classic is what stuff was being made in the 70s.
This is kind of
this
now
is the modern.
mainstream.
Yeah, the modern. Okay. Lots of oak, ripe fruit. Super rich flavor. So that's kind of the context. But that really jumped out at me how $750 wine got 16 and a half points.
Yeah,
so.
Wine is a commodity. Very interesting, right? How much you pay for something and how well rated it is versus the cost of it.
Well, I don't think it's commodity, but it's in a weird way. It's traded that way. It's just fascinating how PR. Kind of like I don't know, kind of the term I'm looking for. It kind of confuses the marketplace, and the marketplace starts believing PR instead of like what's actually in the bottle. So it's just fascinating.
Yeah.
So anyway, but we can transition to I guess something that we like to showcase is the kind of smaller producers, farmers, organic farming, etc., etc.
Speaking of,
yes,
we just happen to have handy. I just want to show off my crop of zucchini from my garden, and I think
tomatoes too.
Yeah, I think it is related. People are gonna laugh, but
no, they're not.
No, it super is related because
right
like when you're talking about craft or small batch produced wines, and how it's people who are obsessed with making quality. How it shines through. Well, I think it's the same case for garden-grown vegetables. So
you want to explain this one? So it looks yellow, right? But it's got like green bottom.
Yeah. So I have two different varieties of zucchini growing, and there's some cross-pollination going on. So you can see that some of So this is the green variety of zucchini. I forget which one it's called, but you can see that some of the yellow zucchini also have like little green bits in there, and that's pretty common. That happens when they're right next to each other. I think it actually looks kind of cool to me. But we had these zucchinis. We cut them up and we sauteed them, and then your mom made kind of like pancakes out of them.
Yes.
And they taste so much better, I think, than conventional store-bought zucchini, which have a tendency to be tough on the outside. Their skin is tough, and I just don't think that they taste as good, because when we cooked they were like buttery tasting.
Well, you mentioned that. You were actually cutting our zucchini
versus a store-bought zucchini, it was the store-bought zucchini is like tough. I'm like, well, okay, I guess I need my knife sharpened for this one.
Yeah. So you could tell a difference, and I think the correlation that we were trying to make is that a lot of the wine producers the same way, the mass-produced wines versus the. This is an example. This is homemade, but it's basically the stuff you find at farmers market.
Yes, it is.
Versus when you go to grocery stores, and it's like it's more, I think, visible because at the farmers market, the fruit it looks beautiful. It's typically smaller,
tastes better.
Yeah, right? It's fresh. Whereas you go to markets, it's like already wilting.
It's been in the fridge for a long time, and it's been transported, left and right. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's mostly done with preservatives and some type of fertilizers. So.
Or inorganic fertilizers.
Inorganic,
or whatever,
yes.
And it's much more difficult, I think, to have a garden with the organic fertilizers.
But I think with fruits and vegetables, it's easier on the eye, whereas with wine,
you can't tell, right?
Can't tell,
it's got a nice PR and it's got a pretty bottle, and people can't tell.
Yeah, and then when you try to kind of justify cheaper wines, which are done in these industrial processes. It's kind of like, well, it's the reason it's cheap. It's just there's no kind of handmade organic coming from ideal sites. You cannot do that with a cheap wine. You can't. So it's one of those things. You have to kind of justify yourself or like a cheap wine, and then say, oh, it's as good as anything else. It's like, no, it's not as good as anything else.
Yeah. So we're like the farmer's market of good wines.
Yes.
All right. So back to our review. So we're tasting vermouth today. It's different normally. So vermouth is what is vermouth? I don't know. It's
a herb flavored fortified wine.
What is it fortified with? I'm gonna open it while we.
Well, I know it's infused, frequently with many different herbs.
Okay.
And historically, it's actually this particular wine is infused with some of the native Australian botanicals. So this is Australian rosé vermouth made from the Shiraz grapes from Adelaide Hills.
Okay.
And it's infused with Ilvara plum, rosella, and strawberry gum. So that's
okay. Yeah, it's actually on the bottle. As you probably won't be able to see the text, but it's got on the little label on there. Yeah.
But it's interesting thing about vermouth is that the Romans and the Greeks were making herb flavored wines even back in their days. But frequently it was used to heal like gastronomic ills. So it was used kind of as medicinal, yes.
Okay,
yeah. Yes, and it's not really until like the 1600s when in Italy they tried to make vermouth into kind of like a drink that you could have like wine. So then it became kind of like almost like a cocktail like drink. we were saying originally it was actually mixed with wormwood, which I wasn't sure what it is.
They make absinthe. It's a type of herb. They make absinthe with wormwood, right?
Right.
And also other sort of, it has pharmaceutical medicinal properties. So yeah.
And really, the big scale production of vermouth didn't really start until early 19th century. So it's a relatively recent drink. So yeah. It's interesting. I came across some of these vermouth that we now carry, and I got curious because Tamlin Curran out of JensenRobinson.com, she had a really cool article on vermouth, and I actually wanted
She's
to
such a great writer. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Tamlin Curry.
So she was saying, exploring the wine for flavors takes the drinker down entirely new pathways, into the forest, across the scrublands, to the seashore, and to the secret room of the apothecary. So stuff like that. I'm sure she's obviously like a literature major, but when you read stuff like that, it piques my interest. I'm like, I have to try that out. And obviously she writes these kind of like poetic things about wine she likes. It's not like she likes about 15-point wines. She's so poetic about which this wine got 18 points. We were just talking about that. It's like a 95-point scale. And we sell it for $27. So, if you decided between a 16.5 bond wine that sells for $7.50 versus 18-point vermouth, I think maybe this is the better value.
Yeah. Hold on. I have a picture of where this wine is from. I completely forgot to pull up the
pull the picture
visuals.
And I'll pour it for us.
Yeah. So this is an image of Adelaide Hills. So
it
looks like a painting.
South Australia, yeah.
South Australia, and again, it was too pretty. I had to share, and this is kind of like some vineyard views of that area. But let me go ahead and pull up the map so you guys can get an idea. Oh, you can't really tell too well. So on the bottom side of the screen on the right, you can see a star, and it says ADE. That's supposed to say Adelaide. So it's in the southern part of Australia. Yeah. Just to get some perspective on.
And most of the majority of the wine is made in that South Australia portion. There's different sub-regions, but majority of the wine is made there. There's on the west coast. There's Margaret River, and some nice cabs are made in that area. But really, the Barossa Valley, one of the more famous regions, is right there. So Adelaide Hills is right to the east of that. So that's really the wine producing part of Australia.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
It's on the water, so it's got like the climate conditions that are suitable for that.
Okay.
You're not going to make wine in the outback, as far as I know. They don't.
You'd be hard pressed. Okay.
Yeah, they don't make wine there. So I don't know. I poured it. You want to taste that? I don't know if you could show it.
Yeah, it's it looks clear. I can't really show. It looks clear, maybe a little light golden. I've never had vermouth before in my entire life, so we didn't taste
I've
it.
I've had some of my sales rep. They actually showed me some vermouth from Spain, which was the darker vermouth.
Wow, this is really cool. Yeah, it's definitely a bit strawberry, kind of like a lemon herb, and it has just a little bit of like a minty herb at the end.
Well, you know what? It's funny. I don't know if I read that as strawberry gum, but it feels like there's bubble gum type of flavor to it.
It's a little bit. Yeah, it's a bit sweet. It's a little candy, but it's not like
It's off dry, and that's what it's semi.
Off dry is the perfect way to describe it. It's just like a little bit sweet.
Yeah, and vermouth comes in different flavors. For example, Italians in the Piedmont region, that's really the big producing area for vermouth there. They're making it with local aromatic varieties like Moscato.
Okay.
So frequently smells like the grapes. But then the Spaniards, they use like recipes in their vermouth, and the Spanish vermouth is typically much darker, like amber color, and that's it's not necessarily from the grapes. You could do vermouth from white grapes, and it will attain that color because you're using all the botanicals and all
it's the botanicals that give it the color. Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
and something I didn't know about Spain. That's apparently the number one drink in Spain is vermouth.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just straight? They have it straight? Because I know it's used in mixed drinks, but, I kind of have no interest in mixed
there were
drinks.
some recipes. Even the website said for this vermouth, it'd be Sicilian lemonade or bitter lemon, lemon wedge and strawberry, and put it in an ice tumbler. So
okay, well, we're just having it with ice, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't add a thing to it. It tastes
Yeah.
so flavorful and delicious. I wouldn't add anything to it.
And we were some of the food recipes for this one is like strawberries. What else? Passion fruit, raspberry, stone fruit. So it's really kind of summer fruit. Is typically a good pairing. And you can see because the wine is so delicate. I think even like we were discussing, maybe a little tart. You might be overpowering this wine. It's really delicate.
It's super delicate. You know, I kind of wonder how like a exotic, well, probably, but like fruit tart would taste with it. And I mean, like passion fruit, mango. I wonder if that would bounce back. I'm not sure. I've never.
Well, you know, it's funny drinking this on ice because you know it's so hot this weekend.
Yeah.
It feels fantastic. It's so refreshing.
It is.
And because I remember drinking the Spanish vermouth, it was much deeper, like a bolder drink than this. This is
light.
This is delicate. Yeah,
this
light
is a
and
very
delicate,
light, delicate. Yeah. Well, this is delicious. I've never had vermouth before. It's
yeah.
great.
No, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a great drink. So you know, we guys, we bashed Napa wines and we give you.
No, well, we talked about value, right? I mean, there's some
Yes.
fantastic Napa Sonoma family-owned wineries that are making kind of small batch craft. I mean, we even sell their wines, like
Yeah.
trying to think of their names, but
It's it's PR. The Harlan Estate. They built really a wine empire based on knowing how to work the PR angle.
Right.
And the smaller wineries, I'm sure they're probably envious that they can't work that angle and they have to sell themselves as small mom and pop shops. But in terms of what's in the bottle, I trust Jensen's all the time. The scores to me is king. Not the price point, not what's in the label.
Yeah, exactly.
The score is king. So I trust Jensen's and I trust her scores. And I, whenever I decide to bring something in the store, I'm like, did Jensen's recommend this? Okay, let me ask my rep to bring it so I could taste it. And she's on it 100% of the time.
okay. Yeah. Well, this is a very highly rated one as well. So if you're interested in checking out Vermouth, this is a delicious kind of strawberry gum, herbs, very delicious, very flavorful, but light and refreshing vermouth. It's 18 out of 20 points, and for $27.99, I think this is a spectacular thing to try out. I'm so glad we had it.
Fun to
it's
smell.
fun.
Just
Yeah.
fun to smell, yeah.
Yeah,
and
it's a fun
anticipate
one.
how it's gonna taste, yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks so much, guys, for joining us. Hopefully you'll come and check out our Saturday wine tastings. Otherwise, we'll see you next Friday for our next wine show. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye.
Bye, guys.